How about we go over how the 12 new guys are doing in Alcatraz? I'm going to give you a brief profile on each of them too, and stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to give you some clues as to what the one remaining guy I have to add to this tank is. I want you guys to guess. Alright, here we go. Alright, on to my new boys. Oh, and just in case you're new to African cichlids, I actually do mean boys. This is an all-male tank. Adding a female would make things interesting. And in a bad way too, unless you do it just right, but I digress. So first off, this may look like a Malawi Hawk to you, but guess what? It's only half a Malawi Hawk. That's right, his papa was a hawk, and his mama was one of these. And I'm not gonna hurt myself trying to pronounce that one, so you just have to read it. You can treat them just like a Malawi Hawk, no difference. He is a Haplachromis, or hap. In fact, all the guys you're about to see are haps. This guy should have more color than his papa too, but it takes a while for them to color up. My old hawk didn't start getting color until he reached about 6 inches. He never really was super colorful. Here, look. This is my old hawk. This is the photo from Ron's website of a Hawkloceps. Quite a difference, yeah? And he's one of my few really big boys too. He can get anywhere from 10 to 14 inches long. I'm hoping he stays on the short end of that scale. I wish I had an even bigger Alcatraz. And guess who's next? I'm not showing you on purpose to build anticipation. Are you ready? And here he is, Icarus, my new Ray 2.0. Ray was such an incredible mbuna, and this one's going to have some huge shoes to fill. Icarus is the only mbuna in this tank now. Mbuna need a higher veggie content in their food than peas and haps, but yellow labs are a little bit different, and they can get by with a higher protein diet, which helps out. I still mix veggie pellets with my regular pellets for him though, and he gets blanched zucchini once a week just like everybody else. He loves his pipes just like Ray did. I bought him knowing he was the smallest fish of the bunch at 3 inches. He's always moving in and out, and I feel like that's really good because you see this guy? This is Gary, and he's got a huge mouth. I never noticed how big it was until I put Icarus in here. I thought he wouldn't be bite-sized, but now the more I look at him and then at Gary the Venustus's mouth, the less sure I am of that. But while everyone gets Northfin pellets daily, I keep Gary extra well fed with some monster pellets from Extreme I bought for Ferk II a while back. And I think Icarus hanging out in those pipes helps too. This brilliant yellow is something you just can't get with peas and haps, and since a lot of my haps are now more on the blue spectrum, this adds a nice pop of color in the tank.
You will subscribe. Ding ding.
How's about some funny looking lips? Well, you must be looking at my Mdoka white lips then. I think this guy will add a touch of interest to Alcatraz. He should top off around 8 to 9 inches, but one of my viewers suggested that he'll actually get larger than that. I'm hoping not, but there's room in Alcatraz either way. Ron's website indicates that this is one of the more peaceful African cichlids. So far, he's not doing too much. Every time I first walk into the room and see those white lips that I'm not used to, I think, oh my gosh, what happened? And I know that my grandkids are actually gonna love this one. Everyone on this list is from Lake Malawi, except for the next 2 guys who are both from Lake Victoria, starting off with the Hippo Point salmon. Right now he's really colored down. Looks like he's seen a ghost actually. But there's still a hint of color coming through even though he's so colored down. Victorians are pretty much on the smaller side. They have torpedo-shaped bodies that typically stop around the 6-inch mark. And this guy fits that mold perfectly. He's adapting fine to the confines of Alcatraz. And with being as pale as he is, I would expect him to actually be hiding all the time. But he's usually out taking a stroll around the tank. He's just letting everyone know he's no threat to anyone. Nothing to see here. No, sir. Okay, I'll give it a shot. Nuchus quamulatus, I think is what it is. He has the basic Victorian body shape, but where the Hippo Point has more of a rounded head, this guy has a slight dip where the head merges into the body. He'll be a bit smaller than the Hippo at about 5 inches and is mildly aggressive. He's been the one doing most of the hiding in the tank. I'll find him over in between the filter intakes a lot, but he occasionally makes it out. Usually towards the back of the tank though. I love all my Lake Victorians, and I'm really surprised that more people don't give them homes in their own tanks. You wondering what that 13th bonus guy is? Stick around for the clues. This one here is on fire. No, I mean literally that's his name. He's a fire hap, or somewhat known by the name Super Red Empress. Definitely in the top 5 pretty boy haps of all time, and in fact, he was a last minute addition to my order, because usually the ultra gorgeous guys have the ultra bad attitudes. Do you find that's true with your fish? Let us know in the comments. But the site listed him as mildly aggressive, and I wanted to believe, so I got him. But don't think I'm ignorant of the fact that at any time these fish can turn into total scumbags with a flick of a switch. I'm just playing the guessing game. The fire hap should top out around 8 inches or so, and he's already about 6 inches, so the largest fish of the order, and man, does he add some pop to this tank. Okay, Stella, one of my favorite non-cichlids, and I are here to interrupt for just a minute to let you know that last video I mentioned I was going to let you know if I had an ammonia spike in Alcatraz after adding so many fish at once. And I can tell you I did not have an ammonia spike, which is good news, but I did have a false alarm, and I did have a bunch of micro bubbles show up in the tank, and I'll be talking about all that in the next video. Now let's get back to it. The Otopharynx aeromarginatus, or Maramala, is fitting in pretty well. Since he has absolutely no color, he's largely ignored by the other inmates. Topping out at 8 inches at maturity, he's one of 3 Otopharynx species I'll be showing you. And even though I like him, well, I wouldn't have bought him, I suppose, if I didn't like him, he'll take 3rd place in a beauty pageant behind the other 2. And hey man, nothing wrong with 3rd place. Except he didn't win, I mean. 2nd place in the Otopharynx beauty pageant goes to the Nova Blue Longnose. He's sporting a little bit more color than that 3rd place loser I just showed you. He'll probably get a tad bit bigger at 8 to 9 inches or so. I've been seeing him out front a lot, or at least toward the middle of the tank and staying away from the back. Once he matures, he'll get that gorgeous red anal fin that the Maramala doesn't have. Good looking fish. Nice job, number 2. And finally, the one who puts all those other wannabes to shame. The one, the only, Otopharynx tetrastigma. Oh yes, you just can't come close to this guy. Okay, well, he isn't much now, but you just wait. He's gonna blossom big time. He'll have the red anal fin of the Nova Blue Longnose, but he'll have so much more. His body will have those blended blues and greens, and the dorsal and caudal fins will have a hot pinkish color. He'll get to about 7 to 8 inches like the Maramala, and all of these 3 guys are considered to be mildly aggressive. He's also doing well at the moment, just kind of sitting around, waiting to blossom, I suppose. This insigna hap is very camera shy. He hangs out in the back all the time. Steve Holt, my last insigna hap, was a nice guy as far as psychopaths go. He only flicked on his crazy switch for a few hours a week or so. Ron Sight says this guy will get 8 to 10 inches and mildly aggressive. Steve was about 8 inches and also mildly aggressive, so I'd say that's spot on. I've wanted a defusco for a while now, so it's exciting to add one to the mix. They start off like so many of the other Nimbochromis species do, with these brownish stripes along their body. Gary, my venustus I showed you earlier, is also a Nimbochromis. This fusco should be totally transformed by a year or so with different shades of blue and some red on his fins, especially the anal fin. He's going to be a big boy, coming in around 9 to 12 inches, so he's taken up some serious real estate. He's doing great here so far with all these other loonies. Seems to fit right in. Maybe even a little too well. And let's not forget Ferk II. He was going to be Ferk III, but in honor of the late Ferk II, well, there you have it. If you knew Ferk, you remember that he was large, but not in charge. First cicada get 12 to 16 inches or so I'm filling the last big boy slot with this one. Even though Ferk II was about 12 inches, he was the sweetest fish in the tank, and he was a bit on the slow side mentally, but what he lacked in smarts, he more than made up for in character. Ferk II, or we can just call him Ferk occasionally, is doing amazingly well. He's an aggressive eater, which Ferk II was kind of slow to say the least, and I see him sand sifting all the time. I'm really looking forward to seeing Ferk do well as the biggest inmate in Alcatraz. Well, there you go. There's my 12 new guys from Ron Cichlids. Let me know if you have any favorites. Oh yeah, I told you I was going to give you some clues about the one guy I have left to add to the tank. He's from a local breeder, and I can tell you that he's blue and he has a nuchal hump. All right, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.